Hey guys, we're Evan and Katelyn.
And in this video, we're going to go over part 1 of our garage series, how to patch, repair, and paint your walls.
Let's go.
Before we could fix our walls, we had to clear them off and get rid of things so that we could actually reach our walls. Which was good, because we had stuff we'll never use again.
So we ripped off the old shelves and pegboards and took a good look at our sad, sad walls.
To fix them, we had to patch holes, retape peeling corners, and paint. So we'll just take this one step at a time.
For things like nail and screw holes that were smaller than a finger, we used spackle, a 150 grit sanding block, and a putty knife. Having two knives makes it easier because you can use one to scrape spackle off the other. First, scrape or sand the hole clean, and wipe it off with a paper towel. Then get a small amount of spackle on your putty knife and press it into the hole, dragging your knife across it to smooth out the surface.
Tiny holes are pretty easy unless you have 200 billion of them like we did. So much patching. For holes up to 6 inches, you'll need a drywall patch, joint compound, a poking device, a 150 grit sanding block, and a bigger putty knife with some bend to it. Again, having two knives is easier. To patch a medium-sized hole, first scrape away any loose bits, then sand with a 150 grit sanding block, and wipe off any dust. Choose a patch that overlaps an inch or two past the edge of the hole and press it firmly against your drywall. Then apply a thin layer of joint compound over your patch, starting in the middle and feathering it out over the edge. Midway through, we found that a more bendy spackle knife made this part way easier. After it dries fully, sand down any ridges, wipe it down again, and repeat with another layer of joint compound, making sure to feather it out past the edge of your original application. Most people do 3 coats, but 2 worked for our garage.
For holes larger than 6 inches, like this big thing, you're going to have to cut around the hole and pop in a new piece of drywall. You'll need a drywall piece, a pencil, a drywall knife, a utility knife, mesh drywall tape, a power screwdriver, screws, a 150 grit sanding block, joint compound, and putty knives. Also, a yardstick will help if you've got one. Cut a square in the wall around the hole. Drywall can be found in 2x2 foot pieces, so we trace that and cut a 2x2 foot square. If your hole is smaller, cut down your drywall piece to fit. Use a utility knife to score along the line, and a serrated knife to cut through the drywall.
Then you can remove the piece you cut, or punch through it.
You did it with your knuckles. If you want to really hit it, go like.
Okay. JK, don't really do that. You'll have a rough edge around your cut, so sand and wipe it down. If there aren't studs behind your hole, attach a 1x4 inside your wall and screw your drywall patch to that. We had visible studs, so we used those. Pop your drywall piece snugly into place and screw it into your studs or 1x4. Then use mesh drywall tape to go over the edges of your square and spread joint compound over your taped edge, just like we did for the patches earlier, feathering away from the tape. When dry, scrape down any edges, sand, wipe it down, and repeat.
Next, we turned our eye to the corners. Where 2 walls meet, drywall corner tape is used to cover the seam. Our walls had the cheapest type and it was peeling off in several places. Here's what we used to fix it. A utility knife, measuring tape, 150 grit sanding block, spray adhesive, drywall corner tape, joint compound, and putty knives. First, remove the old tape with a utility knife. Then sand the area and wipe off any dust. To attach the corner tape, we use a spray adhesive made for this purpose. The corner tape comes in a roll, so measure and cut off the amount you need. Fold the tape along the crease, and snip the top at 45 degrees if it's butting up against the ceiling. Once the adhesive is tacky, press the tape into the corner and smooth it into place. When it's dry, apply joint compound over the tape and feather the edges. Y'all know the drill.
Finally, the satisfying part! After patching up so much of our walls that we wondered, would tearing them down and starting over be easier? It was finally time to paint. Here's what we used. Spray primer, a 150 grit sanding block, paint, a pour spout if you want to get fancy, paint roller covers, an angled brush, paint trays, and paint rollers. Plus this big thing to brush dust and cobwebs off our wall. First, go over rough patches with your sanding block, then use a broom to brush off dust. Prime over any dark paint or water damage. The paint we got does have primer in it, but we wanted to be extra sure nothing bled through. For paint, we used off-the-shelf white, bare, ultra premium plus, and a satin sheen so it would be easy to clean. We rolled over the walls and cut in around the edges with an angled brush. Side note, if you have to paint over a few days like we did, wrap your rollers and brushes tightly in foil and keep them in the fridge overnight. They don't dry out and you can get back to painting the next day. We painted the door too. It was in bad shape. Oil-based paint worked great for the trim, but not so much for the door. How do you feel about this door, baby?
Absolute failure. This is horrible.
We just couldn't get it smooth.
What is that?
We've never used oil paint before. It got better as it dried, but it was a learning experience. After the door, we just had to get one last hard-to-reach spot. Are we done? Wait.
Hey! Yay! Yep, we're done.
After starting with the yellow, full of holes, hot mess of a garage, it is pretty sweet to look around and see smooth white. Now I feel better. So fixing our walls was a big undertaking, but totally worth it.
And now we have a clean slate so we can revamp our storage system.
So check out our next video if you want to see how we turn our little 2-car garage into a workshop using smart storage.
And thanks for watching.
Bye.
Take 2.
Oh my god!